Hello everyone and welcome to this week's installment of Question and A Coaching Sessions. Hello everyone, this week we're going to answer some more questions from viewers from the emails that come in during the week. And once again, they're condensed versions of emails, and for all those emails that came in this week, if I couldn't get back to you, I apologise. I'll endeavour to get through the stacks and stacks of emails, but please appreciate that I've been inundated recently and I hope to get back to you soon. And remember, when you're sending your emails in, please let me know if you want to answer it in a video message or whether it's just an emergency email, because that would help a lot when I'm trawling through the emails. Being specific with that would save me a lot of time and means I can spend more time filming videos. So I'm going to move straight into the first question, and question one is from Deborah from Oslo. Fantastic. Oslo, what an amazing city. So Deb's question is, what's your favourite movie or TV show? Well, Deb, I haven't watched TV for a little while, and you should know that because you're on the 12-month transformation journey. So day 4, which is the greatest diet, which is the media diet, you know all about. However, obviously in the past I had, and probably my favourite movie that I can just come off the top of my head would be Fight Club. I love that film for so many reasons. I think Edward Norton and Brad Pitt, great actors, but more importantly, I mean, that concept of us splitting identities and not living our true self and always having that gnawing, in the film, Edward Norton's living the standard life. He's buying lots of furniture, he's making his condo look cool, he's doing a job he doesn't really like, and I could resonate with that at the time, and I'm sure most people could. Then Brad Pitt comes into his life, and what is Brad Pitt? I mean, yeah, he's a lunatic, but he's really the driver, the devil on his shoulder that's saying, are you living your true life? Are you doing the things that are important to you? And I really love the concept of that film. And if you don't listen to, the Brad Pitt character, or if you allow them to take over, or if you don't find your true path, it can end, very destructively. So, love the great story, filmed amazingly well, and I'd recommend that anyone who hasn't seen Fight Club goes to see it, especially men. It's obviously probably more of a male film, and Deborah, sorry about that, but you've asked the man what their favourite film is, and I'd recommend that film to anyone, and you can watch it, and everyone, I think, will take their own meaning from it. On a superficial level, it probably is about, people could take a bit of split personality syndrome from it, or they could take, that very superficial level. But I think if you watch it once or twice, you can really find your own meaning, and that meaning will speak to a lot of people. So I love that film. I thank the producers for being the conduit for that information and delivering it in such a format that so many people can see. TV and but on TV and film, I think film should be like it was in the past when the Greeks used to have plays. Go every once in a while. I think it's great to grab some friends and see a film. But you have a simple decision in life when it comes to film and TV. Do you want to be watching the people inside the box having fun and enjoying their lives? Or do you want to be the people enjoying their lives and having fun? And you can't have both. Unfortunately, things like video games, which are incredible now, they're like motion picture productions. In fact, they reap more money than the largest motion pictures. Television series and movies, whilst they're fantastic, they really are keeping people sedentary, and people are living vicariously through TV actors, and you're not designed to do that. Television is a modern invention, really ultimately it's only been mainstream for 50 years, and it's not suitable for 5-6 hours a day. Humans were not designed to sit and stare at something for 5 to 6 hours a day. And you really need to ask yourself, is this addiction helping me? Because it is an addiction. The government won't say it's an addiction. Advertisers won't say an addiction because everyone's making money out of it. But I can tell you the clients I deal with who aren't reaching their maximum potential could give up TV tomorrow and would have the time for all the things they don't have time for. Their family, their friends, their health. Because it is a time sapper. Now, I'm not trying to preach and say people shouldn't look at TV or movies, but how much more beautiful would it be that the last movie you saw was with a group of friends and you really enjoyed it and you had dinner and it was a really exciting event. That seems to have been gone now, Sometimes people just grab a USB stick by themselves and watch 5 movies in a row. It's fine, but what could you have done with that time, and how close is that getting you to your authentic self? And my answer would be not much closer. You know, I do indulge in documentaries from time to time. I love my documentaries, and the thing I love about them is that ultimately no one really sells you anything in a documentary. And you could probably, a lot of people say, well, not, you know, TV shows don't do that. TV shows are ultimately designed to reap funding from viewership. Now, as a lot of cable TV and free-to-air TV companies have found, viewership is more challenging to get, so they're inserting more and more subliminal product placement into shows, whether it's showing more people smoking and cigarette companies are funding that, or whether it's showing certain food choices. Very subtly you're being manipulated by the TV. You don't need to be. It's that simple. Life is out there, it's not in a box. If it was in a box, gee, you know, would life really be living? It's out there. I think it was Groucho Marx who once said he finds TV very, very informative, because every time someone turns it on, he goes into the other room and reads a book. I think that some people for a long time now have seen how TV can dull a personality and it can drain your energy. A lot of people say to me, but Brad, I just sit back in the TV after a stressful day and just relax. You're not actually relaxing. It's energy sapping. You know, I don't know how many people sit in front of a TV for 4 hours and they go, great, time to do a workout. That reminds me, we've got to do a workout in about 20 minutes. However, it doesn't restore energy. It's not replenishing. So active relaxation, working out, meditating, reading, engaging with friends, talking to loved ones, maybe add a bit more of that to your life. And you don't have to cut out TV, but maybe take the 2-week diet, the Great Media Diet, on day 4, and I'd really recommend that. But before you do it, watch Fight Club. Great film. Frank from Perth. Now, I would assume that Perth is in Australia, but there's also a Perth in Ireland, which I think it's named after. So I'm not going to call out the country there. But Frank's question is, what's more important to women, looks or confidence? Now, Frank's question is much more in depth than that, but I wanted to boil it down because he was asking. He believes he's not the most handsome guy in the world, and he believes that it's really affecting his relationships. And really, his question boiled down: I've got a bit of confidence, but my looks suck. And the answer is, and I'm going to give you an answer, so many people skirt around these things, confidence is more important. Sexiness, attractiveness, what makes you want to take someone's clothes off, comes from that spirit. We can all agree that Brad Pitt with some ripped abs is a good looking bloke, right? But there are women who look at that bloke and say, yeah, great, but there'll be no attraction, there'll be no drive. They'll just say, yeah, he's aesthetically pleasing. But then they'll look at their partner who's out chasing his purpose, you know, doing the right things, you know, looking after, you know, people less fortunate to them, and they want to do things to them, nasty things to them. So that's a great example of how ultimately confidence is at the heart of sexiness. And if you could just you know, have a certain look that would engage sexiness, then life would be a bit dull. We should just have these Ken doll blokes walking around, and it would really be a race to the bottom. When purpose and confidence is your driver as a man, women come into your life. I quite often say during my coaching practice that when men become the Mack truck of purpose, women step in front of that Mack truck, and you will find those women. It's so interesting that concept of beauty is in the eye of the beholder as well. You know, Frank, the concept that what you consider beautiful, many women don't consider beautiful. You know, I mean, I find it interesting that women have told me for a long time now that the physique, the Arnold Schwarzenegger physique, is not attractive to them. They don't like that overbearing sort of, you know, muscular build. And as men, we can't understand that because we aspire for that. But sometimes as men, we take concepts that women deal with, and we look through the eyes of a man, and we can never come up with the answer because we're coming from our perspective. Women have a different perspective, and go out there, be confident, chase your purpose, and looks won't matter. Now, I'm not saying that there won't be women out there who aren't superficially driven and won't be all about looks, but that's fantastic because they're not the people you want in your life. They're not the people you want as a relationship, and if they don't like you because you don't look a certain way, bang, you just cross them off the list and you don't have to waste any more time. Catherine from Santiago, South America, fantastic. Catherine, I appreciate the email all the way from, well, we're both in the Southern Hemisphere, so it's not that far. So Catherine asks, why do guys always start out so perfect, but get so complacent once they have been in a relationship for a while? Obviously, Catherine's email was longer than this, but her concern was her boyfriend, who we fell in love with, who was amazing, romantic, and super, is now complacent, is a bit of a slob, and doesn't do the things he did in the past for them. Well, I guess what we have to look at here, Catherine, is relationships are a mirror, and I would suggest that if he has changed, you have changed. Now, I'm not putting any blame on you, but what I'm saying is that in order to fix a problem, you must first fix your perspective. So, the first question that I would ask you is, have you changed? Were you perhaps holding him to different standards early on? And perhaps now, have you changed the way that you treat him? Because if you have, you can fix those things. It's great. And the reason I put that on you is that you can change these things immediately after these videos. Now, oxytocin, which is released during the courtship phase and is released during a relationship, but at the early levels of sort of that romantic love, that crazy whirlwind love where you can't stop thinking about them, which is patterned on addiction, very similar to cocaine addiction, people can do no wrong. So sometimes people don't change, the chemicals change. An example of that would be those habits or those tendencies that they had. Maybe they like to walk around with no shoes on. You thought were endearing in the first 3 months, but now they just bother you because there's shoes left on the ground, and now you can't stand it. Now, what's interesting is your significant other hasn't changed. You've changed. So the lens that you see them through has changed, and now you're not as excited about when they leave their shoes on the ground, just as a silly example. So relationships evolve. People who say love lasts forever, well, it does, because it's always lasted. Love is eternal, it's what brings us into existence. But romance is different. Romance goes through stages, and we talk about the 5 love languages in other videos, and we talk about the stages of love. But ultimately what happens is life is difficult. People then project that onto their romantic partners, and challenges are created. So ultimately, I guess the answer to the question is, has he really changed, or have you changed your perspective? We can talk about your perspective and how to rebuild love and how to re-establish love in a one-on-one session, or you can check out my video on the 5 languages on love to make sure you guys are communicating at the same level. That's it for today's question and answer. Thank you so much for your questions again. I hope to speak to you soon, but for now, goodbye.